to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room Podcast. We are here to podcast about anything and everything Star Wars with you. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR.KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansson.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansson.us. And now, it's time to talk Star Wars. I am Kyle John Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say hello. 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 Scott's not here today. He's working again, being overworked. We do have Rick here, but he is away right now because he's taking care of some smoked pork he's got working in the smoker. So he'll be joining us shortly. And today we're reviewing Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 8, called Truth and Consequences. First, we'll go through some news. I got a news article today about our new show. Details of the episode. I'll go through a recap and we'll discuss it a little bit. We've got a question of the week, and then we'll listen to some predictions and thoughts and all the different ways on how to send us feedback. So let's get started with the news. It's time for the news. All right, so I need to share my screen here, so bear with me. Sound share. Okay. So this is my screen over here on the thing. Yeah, we can see it. Good. All right, so we're talking about Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, and it's supposed to premiere on May 4th on Disney Plus. This is a new show. It's a animated show, and it's supposed to be obviously about younglings being trained and such. And it's kind of geared more towards a younger audience as well. It's not necessarily as adult as some of the other animated shows we've seen. You can see by some of the animation that it's more kid friendly. So it's and this takes place in the High Republic era, which is the era that's way before our movies, or even our prequels. I would say it's probably at least a couple hundred years before the Phantom Menace. It doesn't say here specifically, and we'll probably get a better idea when the show starts. Like it says here, it says it's aimed at preschoolers, which that's a pretty young audience. Let's see what else. Blah blah blah. Yoda training young Jedi younglings. They'll be named Kai, Liss, Nubs, and friends Nash and RJ-83 on planet Tenno. And then here's a picture of them with the laser swords, lightsabers. Let's see. Star Wars transcends generations, blah blah blah. What else is in here that's any good? This is basically aimed at trying to get the young kids involved in Star Wars so that they can obviously continue their their dominance. With lots of people interested in wanting to watch and participate in conventions and buy the merchandise, of course. And of course, it says May the 4th. That's the same day that Star Wars Visions comes out as well. And of course, that's the big, May the 4th be with you celebration day. So yeah, that's it on that. It's supposed to basically a new show. I've heard about this coming out before. Let me pull up our website. See here on our website. We always talk about this during the episode, but you can follow us here on Twitter. And it eventually loads up our Twitter feeds. Hopefully, Twitter doesn't kill this soon. There's rumors that they're going to kill access to this. Here's our question of the week. It loads up. You can see the questions of the week. This is the old stuff. We don't have the new stuff up here yet. Here's our feedback. It's just a feedback form. You're not required to sign in. You're only required to sign if you want to save your information. So you just put in your name and fill out your feedback down here and click submit, and it goes right to us. This is the link that you can go to find where we're posted at. We're on all these locations for audio, and then of course YouTube. The reason I came to this site is because of this timeline, Star Wars timeline, because I wanted to show you Young Jedi Adventures is listed right here in the High Republic. We've got a show coming out this summer, probably called Acolyte, that's going to be around the same timeline. But you can see it's way up here. We've got Episode 1, Phantom Menace, right down here, and it's way back here on the timeline. Clone Wars. Here's our Bad Batch, Kenobi, Andor. Got all these other shows here. So, and then way back here is our latest movies, Rise of Skywalker, all those there. So I wanted to show you that this is available out there. This is something that I maintain and I do. I've made this based on someone else's timeline, and I've kind of made it our own so that we can, refer to all of the shows we talk about and everything and where they're at in the timeline. It's a very useful tool to help you remember where they're talking about so that you don't get confused sometimes. That's all I wanted to show on that. Let me switch my sharing. Here we go. So we're back to that. And that would end the news. The news. That's right. So that was a quick little news thing. We don't have any other news this time. But I'm going to push this spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Danger. You're about to be spoiled. This is your spoiler alert. We're about to talk candidly and explicitly about some TV shows or movies. If you have not watched them, please fast forward to the appropriate section. You will not be warned again because you will be spoiled.
Let the whole thing run that time instead of cutting it off like I usually do. But today, again, we're talking about Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 8, Truth and Consequences. Episode originally aired on February 8th and was a 30-minute running time. Our cast included our entire Bad Batch this time. And we had Captain Rex, and of course, our regular clone troopers. Rex, or Rex, I don't mean Rex, Hunter and all those. Those were all voiced by D. Bradley Baker. Omega, of course, by Michelle Yang. We had Bail Organa and Senator Riduli by Phil Lamarr. We had the Commerce Guild Senator again and Senator Chuchi by Jennifer Hale. Masamada, the blue assistant to Palpatine by Stephen Stanton. And of course, Emperor Palpatine makes an appearance, and that was actually voiced by the Ian McDiarmid, which he hasn't done as many voices of the Emperor lately, and this is the first time in a while that he's actually voiced the Emperor again in the animated shows. Then, of course, we had Vice Admiral Rampart by Noshir Dali, and Halle Burtoni was voiced by Jamal McMillan. All right, let's do a commercial for Pelly's Modern Repair Shop. Are you planning your next trip to Tatooine? Well, come on down to Pelly's Modern Repair Shop, where our droids will spruce up your wagon. We'll service just about anything from Starfighter Corellian Y1300 freighter to a Vespa hovering scooter. If we don't have the part, we can get it. If you qualify for our special program, we'll provide you with any part our Jawas can get. Well, that's right. Come on down to Pelly's Modern Repair Shop, where we can store fuel and upgrade your vessel. We're located at Tatooine's Mos Eisley Spaceport, Hangar 35. Yeah, and I heard a rumor that there's a clone armor wash station right nearby there, where they can go in and take their armor in and get it all cleaned and polished and repaired and, whatever needs to be done to it. So what that means is it's time to grab your favorite beverage, pull up a chair, and join us in the Rebel Alliance briefing room as we discuss the episode. This episode starts off right away with the Bad Batch and Omega are resting aboard the Marauder, while Gonky, the droid, walks around, gonking and making noises and basically just being annoying, getting in people's way. Echo notices that Omega is meditating, something she picked up from Gunji. Echo doesn't feel comfortable meditating due to his experiences as a prisoner on Wat Tambor on Succa Minor. The clones receive a transmission from Rex, who seeks their expertise. While Wrecker is excited, Hunter is concerned when he leaves that they are to meet on Coruscant, where Rex will brief them on their mission. They're very concerned because Coruscant is the center of the Empire, and that's not going to be easy for them to stay hidden on that planet. But then again, it's a huge planet, and there's quite a bit of places to hide if they wanted to, I guess. So when Omega asks what's on Coruscant, Tech explains that it's the capital of the Galactic Empire. Echo adds that the Empire believes they are dead and they won't be looking for them. Hunter says that he hopes to keep it that way. Rex says that he needs them for a covert data extraction mission and will send them a flight plan to bypass Imperial security and coordinates for a safe landing zone. The Bad Batch travel aboard the Marauder to Coruscant. Omega Great gazes at the skyscrapers while Hunter warns everyone to be steady and be watchful. They land the ship at Trace Martez's shop, where they are greeted by Rex and Senator Ryu Chuchi, who thanks them for coming. Inside the repair shop, Rex shows them the corpse of Sniper X, noting that his identifying marks have been removed. He doesn't have I think almost all of the clones have a tattoo on the back of their neck. He doesn't have a tattoo. He doesn't have anything that notifies who he is. So I think they have a chip in there somewhere too, where they like in their tracking chip that has their identification on it too. Rex explains that he had come to rescue the clone trooper CT-409 Slip, and that Slip was assassinated by the clone, who also tried to assassinate Chuchi. When Echo asks why the clone would want to kill a senator, Chuchi explains that Vice Admiral Rampart has been perpetrating the lie that Kamino was devastated by a cataclysmic storm. She says that Slip witnessed the truth and that he wanted him to testify. She wanted him to testify. Echo volunteers to testify since the Bad Batch survived the attack of Kamino. But Hunter warns that the Imperial Senate won't believe them because they are deserters. Rex explains that they can prove Rampart's crimes by obtaining Slip's backup copy of his command log, which are stored on his Venture-class Star Destroyer, in the backup banks. Rex tells the Bad Batch that the Star Destroyer has been retrofitted at the Imperial shipyard on Coruscant, which is heavily guarded. Rex says that he knows a way inside the shipyard, and Chuchi adds that Rampart's Imperial Defense Bill is being debated the following day, and they must prove his crimes before the vote passes. Chuchi intends to stall the bill. And it looks like Rick's back. Yay. Woohoo. Woohoo. Got started at the beginning of the episode where they revealed the sniper as a clone to the Bad Batch. And now we're getting to the part where Rex warns Chuchi she is in danger, prompting her to say that she must be on the right track. Omega volunteers to accompany her, and Chuchi says people cannot enter the Senate district without a security clearance. Tex says that will not be a problem because he knows how to make those code cards and everything. Hunter tells the clones to. He's what?
He's selling fake IDs.
That's right. He's selling fake IDs.
There's a new.
Get your fake ID from Tech. Oh, yeah. I don't know. That's a good one. We'll think about that. Okay. While walking through the hallways of the Imperial Senate with Chuchi and her bodyguards, Omega asks what the senator does. Chuchi explains that senators serve the galaxy and act as the voice of the people. They encounter Admiral Rampart, who says he is making preparations for tomorrow's vote. Omega is unnerved by Rampart. I thought this was kind of weird, this little encounter, because I could have swore somewhere that the Bad Batch has seen Rampart in person, like he would recognize them, kind of thing, But I guess not, because he didn't even say that he knew who she was. So,
but
maybe I'm wrong.
She kind of was a little bit disguised, but she looked at him in flash recognition, but then looked away. So yeah, I think there was a connection there.
Right, I think she knows who he is, but I thought that it was the other way around too, that he knows who they are too. Because, well, you remember in the first season he was handing out missions too to him before they got met up with Sid, or escaped or whatever.
He was the one that was sending the missions, and he had the files on him. So.
Right, so that's why I wonder why he doesn't recognize Omega, but
she's got a good.
It's a plot hole, I guess. One of those plot holes that we see.
Text fake ID worked.
Yeah, the fake ID worked. Oh, I just see the ID. I don't see the person's face. All right, so Omega is unnerved by Rampart, who walks past the group. He speaks with Grand Advisor Mas Amedda, who asks if Chuchi will be a problem. Rampart assures Amedda that Chuchi will not cause any more delays in the bill. Chuchi shows Omega the Galactic Senate chamber, explaining that that's where they discuss the legislation and the future of the galaxy. Omega is mesmerized by all the little pods or whatever that the representatives sit in. Chuchi explains that each pod belongs to a group of senators and delegates. When Omega asks if there is one for the clones, Chuchi explains that the clones never have had representation, since some view the clone as military assets. Chuchi says she is working to ensure the clones have the same rights as any galactic citizen. Chuchi is determined to fight for the cause. Senator Bail Organa astromech droid R2C4 pops by with a message. Chuchi asks Omega if she can keep a secret, while Rampart gives a speech arguing that the galaxy needs a military staffed by its citizens. Omega accompanies Chuchi during a meeting with Organa as they stroll through a hallway. Chuchi briefs Organa about the failed assassination attempt, leading Organa to surmise that Rampart is very resourceful. Chuchi explains that her associates are working on obtaining information proving Rampart's role in the events on Kamino. Organa advises Chuchi to speak with the Kamonian Senator Halle Burtoni, but warns that her support may not be forthcoming. Organa explains that she served on the Defense Finance Committee before being removed from office. Organa advises Chuchi to follow the money since it'll always leave a trail. Omega is present in the Senator Chuchi's residence when she hosts Senator Burtoni, who asks if armed guards were necessary, she said. After the guards close the door, Omega sits beside Chuchi while Burtoni sits in a high chair near the wall. Chuchi asks about missing Senate appropriation funds earmarked for operations on Kamino. Funding for cloning facilities has been siphoned off since last year. Chuchi asks where the money went, and who diverted the funds. Burtoni derides Chuchi as a fool and warns about the danger of prying into sensitive matters. When Chuchi mentions that the Kaminoans are people, Burtoni says that most of her people are gone and that she is not concerned with Kaminoan diaspora scattered across the galaxy. When Omega asks why she's not concerned about the Kaminoans, she asks why a child like her would care, and Omega responds that she is a clone and that Kamino was her home. She says that she was the Empire destroyed everything and that she's angry about what they did. Omega emphasizes that it was not right, which I have questions about that. Now that Omega's revealed herself to this Kamoan, let's say, if that's going to get out somewhere and cause issues later on.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. Like, if she would reveal that information.
Yeah, I mean, the Kamoans aren't very reliable from what we've seen, so they turn their back on you pretty quickly, it seems like. At least the way we've seen it.
Yeah, she was hesitant to help to begin with, so, why would you play that hand?
Exactly. All right. Burtoni says that she has suspected that an attack was imminent, dismissing Prime Minister Lamassu as arrogant in his belief that the clones were necessary to the Empire. Burtoni laminates that none of them are. which Chuchi asks if Admiral Rampart diverted the funds, and Burtoni responds that she already knows the answer and confirms that this is the case. Chuchi pleads with Burtoni to testify at the Senate debate, but the Commonian senator says that her words won't matter since she will need concrete proof. Chuchi responds that she needs both and that she is running out of time. Meanwhile, back on the ranch, the other Bad Batch and Rex infiltrate Rampart's Star Destroyer. They climb up a ladder past a generator, and Hunter gets Wrecker to cut through the hatch. Hunter chats with Rex, who tells them that more of their brothers are waking up to what has been done to them. Rex is determined to reach out to other clones and says that troopers who know too much are liability to the Galactic Empire. Rex says that he is working with a few contacts, but they are spread pretty thin with limited help. After Wrecker encounters a ray shield, Rex manages to improvise and disable the shields. They climb up the manhole and hide under a walkway. There are several clone troopers and droids moving around them. The clones hide under a repulsor lift platform. Wrecker is nervous due to his fear of heights, which Tech manages to hack into a platform's control and commandeers the platform, alarming its droid pilot. Which this is more of a shuttle thing, is what it says. It says it's a platform thing, but it's more of a shuttle that droid's riding in to me. But repulsor lift platform is what it says. It's not a platform. It's a ship.
Shuttle. Ferry.
There you go. That's better.
Ferry.
Exactly. Tech gets the speeder to drop them on one of the Ventor's dorsal doors. So he takes control of it and pilots it over to the top of the ship, the Rampart ship, and the clones infiltrate the ship through a hatch. Stunning several clone troopers, the Bad Batch and Rex enter the command bridge. Tech discovers that energy conduits are offline, and the only way to retrieve the data is to reroute the power, which will trigger a security breach. It'll send the alarms off. With time running out, the clones get to work and reactivate the bridge area. Their presence is detected by the Imperial clone troopers, who realize that there are intruders aboard the vessel, which, by the way, is numbered VZ 114. The clone commander officer dispatches patrols to trench Alpha 7 and alerts the onboard sentries. Clone sentries proceed towards the bridge, finding unconscious comrades in the command room outside trench Alpha 7, which is where they're trying to re-establish the download and stuff. Wrecker jams the doors while Tech retrieves the copied files. Rex and the rest of the Bad Batch engage in a gun battle with sentries after they break down the door. The sentries request reinforcements, who dispatch several Alpha 3 Nimbus class V-Wing starfighters. Hunter gets the clones to man the ship's turbo laser cannons, which down several of the starfighters. After Tech completes the data transfer, the Bad Batch activate Plan 5, which involves firing up the Star Destroyer's engines. While the clone troopers retreat from the moving structure, the Bad Batch and Rex fight their way through the clone sentries and head towards corridors. Due to the movements of the engine, the Star Destroyer tilts forward, causing the frontal support clamp to collapse. The Bad Batch and Rex escape in an escape pod, which lands in the shipyard, and they escape down a manhole. I wanted to point out here, Tech says that he was off by 6.4 meters. He wasn't as accurate as he was hoping to. He's done better, he said, I think.
Pressure.
Yeah. At the Imperial, he was under too much pressure to get it exactly right. Exactly.
He missed a decimal point.
Rounding error.
Yeah. Rounding. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. At the Imperial Senate, Rampart argues that there is no need to delay the vote on the Imperial Defense Recruitment Bill since Chuchi's concern about the clone troopers' welfare have been addressed. Chuchi disagrees and says that they cannot take his word since he has given them reason not to trust. She and Burtoni take their pod to the middle of the podium, and Rampart asks what reason they have to delay. Chuchi responds that Burtoni is willing to testify that Rampart has diverted Commonian funds without senator approval. I think we hear a gasp in the crowd at this time. They go, and Rampart's like, "What? Why are they looking at me like this?" Rampart dismisses Burtoni as a disgraced senator. Chuchi proposes a formal investigation into the funds. Outside, Echo passes a copy of the files to Omega. Meanwhile, Rampart responds that he is not at liberty to disclose classified military operations. He claims that the funds were redistributed. Chuchi responds that his actions began months before the events on Tapoka City and suggests that he was planning it from the beginning. Dun, dun, dun. When Rampart asks what she is talking about, Chuchi accuses him of intentionally destroying the Camino clone facilities. Chuchi's allegations are met by gasps and murmurs. Oh, no. Senator Organa watches the proceedings grimly. Rampart denies the accusations as baseless, while Burtoni asks Chuchi for the proof that she speaks of. Chuchi says she doesn't know where it's at. Rampart calls for a vote on the defense recruitment bill to proceed. The intergalactic banking clan senator Gianni Rudicki calls for Chuchi to be removed from the Senate proceedings and censored for misconduct. The unidentified Communist Guild senator seconds the motion. At that
Someone
point,
probably called her a
yeah, you're a liar.
Current events, liar.
Liar. Oh.
Oh, wrong.
Yeah. At this point, Omega presents the data package to Senator Organa, who dispatches his pod and presents the recording to Chuchi. Chuchi presents the recovered command log from Admiral Rampart's venture, which she states proves that his own ship caused the destruction of Tapoka City. She plays the recording of Rampart's bombarding Tapoka City. Omega and Organa watch with vindication, while the other senators react with shock and outrage. Oh no.
No, she wasn't a liar.
How could this be? We've been lied to for years. Well, not years, but I think it's only been a half a year since the first season. But and then we hear the alarms start to go off, and we see the center pod come out from the floor, and there's Palpatine. Palpatine and Grand Visor Amedda rise from the central pod to address the Senate. Amedda addresses the Senate, commending Chuchi and commending Rampart, and condemning. So he commends Chuchi, but condemns Rampart for his unprovoked and cowardly act on Camino. Amedda claims that Rampart acted to fulfill his own selfish goals and ordered several Imperial shock troopers to arrest him for war crimes. Rampart protests and says, "I'm just following orders. I was just following orders. Take your hands off me, you weirdos."
Not
Didn't
my
say
fault.
that. I didn't do it. I was doing what I was following orders. And then we hear directly from Palpatine. Palpatine says that he's deeply troubled by the revelations and commends Chuchi for exposing a rogue element within the ranks. Palpatine regrets that many lives have been lost and promises that Rampart will be punished for his treachery. Palpatine also points out that Rampart did not act alone and that the clones under his command blindly followed orders. Palpatine uses the revelations of the Camino atrocities to make an impassioned speech arguing for the passage of the defense recruitment bill into law in the name of peace and stability. He adds that this is a new era to be heralded by the Imperial Stormtrooper. Omega, Chuchi, and Organa watch with concern. Dun dun dun. So this is something. This is a plot hole that they filled that so many people have been asking about. Is if we had the Clone Wars, what happened to the clones? Because in the original series, the New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, there's no clones in there at all. What happened to them in between? This kind of answers that question. They
were there. Now they're not.
They were either eliminated or they've retired somewhere, right?
I hope this defense bill has some extra money earmarked for ammunition because the stormtroopers have bad aim.
Very, very bad aim. Very bad.
So hopefully put a little extra funding in for that for practice.
Probably not. It'll probably be cut. That's my guess. It's my guess.
Maybe that's why they have such bad having to spend on practice.
Yeah, the funding got cut.
See, here we go. Now we've got more than one plot explained. Why stormtroopers can't hit anything? They never get to practice.
Exactly.
Because there was no funding included in the bill.
Exactly. Yeah. So, just remember, from Revenge of the Sith, it's basically 19 years until New Hope. So there's quite a bit of time there, 20 years almost. And our clones have accelerated aging. So they're starting to get old and stuff. And we see that actually in the Star Wars Rebels show. Because Rebels is a weird show. It actually starts, part of it starts before New Hope, and then some of it ends after Return of the Jedi. I think some of the last stuff is after the Return of the Jedi. But it jumps around in the timeline quite a bit. And we actually get to see some resolve of what happens to some of the clone troopers in the Star Wars Rebels show. And I'm not going to say anything more about that because it'll spoil too much. But let's go. We're almost done with the episode here. So, following the Senate vote, Rex laminates that the Emperor is several steps ahead of them and that they played right into his hands. Omega is perplexed that they failed to, despite the truth. Exactly. Dun dun dun. Hunter responds that Palpatine twisted the truth to his own advantage. Rex agrees that Palpatine wanted them to implicate Rampart in order to secure the Senate approval for his stormtrooper program. Echo laminates that the fate of the clones is sealed as a result of their actions. So Echo is feels guilty that what he's done has caused the demise of all the clones and their service to the Empire. Chuchi vows to continue to fight for the clones to have the same rights as every citizen. Kneeling to face Omega, she promises not to give up. Hunter tells Rex to contact him if he needs anything else. Rex decides to stay behind, prompting Hunter, Wrecker, and Tech to wish him farewell and good luck. That's not what it said. That's not what happened. They do that to Echo, not Rex. somebody wrote that down wrong. Omega is surprised that Echo is not coming with the rest of the Bad Batch. Echo explains that he is going with Rex because the clones will need more help than ever. Omega is upset. She actually starts crying, and Echo promises that he will return and tells Omega to keep up her training. Echo hugs a tearful Omega before Omega joins the rest of the Bad Batch aboard the Marauder. While Omega watches with Rex and Chuchi, Omega watches with Rex and Chuchi. Omega is then later seen on the Marauder hugging her Tuca doll Lula and feeling sorry for herself, no doubt, right? And then we get the credits. Ta-ta-ta.
Dave Filoni.
You didn't see earlier while you were off playing with your meat, you pervert.
Watch that.
Yeah, I showed this timeline again. I've shown it to you before,
Yeah,
but I went through this timeline because it was related to part of the stuff I was talking about. And the new show I talked about was called The Young Jedi Adventures. That was what the news was about. So, in this show, it says it's geared to preschoolers. So the audience is supposed to be preschoolers, which is a lot different than any of the other animated shows that they're doing. They're trying to get something that the young kids will watch, so they have a new audience, right? So, but it's about younglings being trained to be Jedis, and most of the training is done by Yoda. So I showed this timeline, and I wanted to show you too because I was talking about Rebels, and Rebels is this purple line that you can barely see, but it goes all the way up here by Andor and comes all the way down here around our timeline where Boba Fett and Mandalorian are. And that's why I always keep talking about seeing Thrawn, because Thrawn is a big character in the Rebels, and the timeline matches up with the Mandalorian and stuff like that. So, anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Like I said, here's Star Wars, and we've got the Bad Batch technically is happening around this time right here, 1819, right after the episode 3. So we've got about 20 years till the New Hope. And I mentioned this Young Adventures thing is like probably a couple hundred years before episode 1, in this High Republic era.
So this was when Yoda was in his having his midlife crisis.
Yeah, this is when he was in his prime, let's say. Yeah, because he's probably like 400 years old during this thing.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's go on here. We've got our question of the week. Is that the same question I asked before? Where did the sniper clone come from?
No.
Nope, it's not. I asked about
Rampart's plans.
Yeah, you're right. I asked about Rampart's plans. So let me stop sharing that and make sure I got my sound shared so that you can hear me play music later. All right. So our question of the week this week is, where did this clone, supposed clone, we don't know if he's a clone or not, a sniper come from? I've got a couple theories about it. We may never find out, but we may again find out. We'll see. In the next coming episodes, they might reveal some of that. I expect, even though Rampart has been taken into custody, we'll probably see him again. Maybe some during that timeline, that storyline, we'll find out what happened, where this guy came from. I would expect that his armor was a little different.
Armor was kind of,
a little different.
Kind of like Finnick. Is that her name?
Yeah, a little bit like
gosh.
her Fennec Shand. Yeah.
Yeah, Finnick Shan's armor. Not quite, but it was kind of like to imply that maybe they were similar.
You mean her?
Yes, there you go. Yes, her.
It doesn't have her helmet thing there. It's on top of her head, but anyway, yeah, maybe, kind of imply a bounty hunter type of thing too.
Yeah.
I would expect that, we don't see anybody else really as a clone that's trained as a sniper, but I'm sure there's plenty of them. Because why would they only have one, right? There's got to be more than one clone that's trained as a sniper. It's just Echo seems to have, or not Echo, Crosshair seems to have really good aim. So, maybe that's what makes him stand out. I don't know.
Yeah, but this guy says he's a believer. So that I think that's going to be a right statement too. Like, I'm a believer.
I'm a believer. Yeah. Sings a song and everything to us. No.
And then he goes out with a jolt.
Exactly. I'm a believer. Yeah, so he believes in the cause, I guess, or whatever, the imperial cause. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think he's pretty much, how Rampart was going through and kind of questioning clones for loyalty and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
He probably found this one to be particularly loyal and recruited him for whatever jobs he needed. Eliminating his problems and stuff like that, I guess. I would say so. With that, you can find us. He's going to hire the
someone else.
I don't know. I think it's Rampart that hired that guy, but or commissioned him or whatever you want to call it. Because he was talking directly to him.
Contract.
But, contract. There you go. He was talking directly to him, so kind of makes me lead that, or it could be. I guess it could be Palpatine. Maybe he has commissioned him or contracted him. But we want you to tell us what your opinion is about it. So we need your feedback.
Feedback at KyleJohansson.us. That's feedback, KyleJohansson.us.
That's right. Feedback at that email address. Again, we have several ways for you to send us feedback on our website. There's a link that says feedback, and you click that, and it's a form you fill out, and it comes right to us. We will answer any feedback on the show, within reason, of course. We have the question of the week, what we just talked about. When you answer the question of the week, there is a section underneath there that you can leave comments about what you said or anything else you want to talk about. You can also go to our YouTube page where we do this video, and there's comments section there as well. And I rarely mention it, but we also have social media on Twitter. You can engage with us there. So all those places are good for feedback. So what did you think this entire episode? It was pretty full of stuff this time too. We got 2 huge episodes, it seems like, on the same week.
I got to be honest. We had this conversation. I didn't realize there was a second episode this week. So it was a surprise. I just watched it late yesterday afternoon, evening.
So yeah, you said that. And
it was kind of a bonus for me. I was like, what?
I think because you missed our last recording, I talked about it quite a bit in the last recording that there was going to be 2 episodes. You weren't available, and Scott was. So we recorded. So that means you aren't listening to the podcast, but whatever.
Why would I listen? I'm on it.
Exactly. But you should listen to it. You still haven't probably listened to the episode that I asked you to listen to, have you?
I've listened to like about 5 minutes of it. So
Did
I'll be honest on that one too.
Did you notice something funny about it? Did you notice something funny about it?
No, I'm not going to say anything funny.
No. Okay. So you listened to it. You didn't watch the video, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh,
so
you should
now
really
I have to go watch.
You should really watch a little bit of the video.
Okay, I'll go watch the video. I guess now. I just listened.
Yeah, it's you'll see.
Hey, wait a minute.
And
Are you?
And you might see.
Are you bullying me? Are you bullying me?
No.
That's what I hear all the time. You're being a bully.
No. Not at all.
Family friendly show. We can't talk about that.
No. I just did a little bit of trickery with the video, and you'll have to see. I might actually do it with this one too, because you haven't been watching, so I might do it with this one too. Yeah, you'll find out. It's funny.
All right, I'll go watch it.
Just slightly funny. Just slightly funny. I would say if we had a huge audience of people, most of those people wouldn't get it. I wouldn't say it's an inside joke per se, but they just wouldn't understand why I did it. But I think you know me well enough that that I did it because it was funny and not in a harmful way. So
no, I couldn't take it.
Now you're curious. Yeah. Now you're curious. Uh-oh.
I'll send the administrator an email later to complain.
There you go. There is a little known. Yeah. There's a little known.
He's looking for some.
He's looking for some work. He's looking for. He's got to pay for his. He's got to pay for his gold armor.
Yeah.
See? So
he doesn't have many credits left. He needs some more credits.
So he's got to pay for that with that gold armor. All right. Well, that's all I really had too. This is again a really jam-packed episode. It was a lot more excitement and a lot more fun than the previous few episodes. I hope it continues that way till the end of the season. But any good storyteller always throws in one of those silly bottle episodes that don't mean anything to the rest of this show. So I would expect there might be one more of those, but otherwise I think we're going to get some pretty exciting content going to the rest of the season. And of course, halfway through that, on March 1st, we start Mandalorian, which is going to be interesting. That'll be 2 shows that we'll be reviewing at the same time. So, fun. Twofer. Anything else you got?
Nope, I got nothing, man.
All right, let's run the outro then. Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansson.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansson.us. This podcast in no way is approved, sponsored, or owned by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. All opinions are solely owned by Kyle and or Scott and in no way express the views or opinions of their past or present employers. Views and opinions are not supported or restricted by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or any or other use of this podcast and its affiliate sites without consent of Super Duper Podcast Network and its host is prohibited. I am Kyle John Hansen, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say goodbye now. Goodbye. Like I said before, Scott's overworking himself, so we have Rick today, and Rick can say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. And stop.